Hey friends, how are you? So I'm feeling a little rusty on these videos. How's everything going? I have been gone for about 1 week, and it is because I tested COVID positive. And I want to talk a little bit about a couple of the lessons that I learned this week with this with this virus. So the first is when I tested when it started going around my family. So it was our super spreader event was Christmas and the days leading up to Christmas and then I think Christmas and it started with a couple of people in the family and it just kind of cycled from there. And it's almost like it went through three tiers. So the first tier that got it, and then the second tier that got it, I was in that tier, and now we're going into the third tier. So my husband was in the first tier. So the first thing that happened was I was at the office when I heard, and so I started. Um, well, actually, my husband had a fever and a couple nights, and that's when I said you got to go get tested and get tested. La la la. So I thought he was already. So I knew that I was going to have to start understanding that I was probably going to get it. And so anyways, he got it first. I was finishing up doing all my stuff. I was testing negative every day. And and but I started thinking of what I had to bring home from a standpoint of almost like going on survival, right? So what I brought a bunch of books so that I could read and catch up on. I started a certification process for life coaching. I did a few other things that I knew I would have time for and that I could not leave my house. And if those of you who have been to my house, we are out in the woods. We're about a third of a mile from the road. And we're pretty secluded other than other McGregors. And so I was like, all right, we got to be ready for this. So when he tested positive and I was negative, that's when I went into my gathering phase to get ready for being in the bunk, basically. Um, and then I tested positive, and I tested positive at the office. I had taken a test at the office because um, I I got a cold, and that was pretty much what the days preceding getting COVID, I was achy, achy, achy. And that was how I felt when I got my vaccines. So I feel like I probably was starting to come down with it, but whatever, I didn't test positive at that point. Anyway, I got tested positive and I went home. So I've been home for what is this? This is like the sixth or seventh day, the sixth day. So I came home and I basically haven't really left. I picked up my son who was also COVID positive, uh, uh, and brought him to get his truck dropped off or whatever. So he was getting some work done. So I have talked before about the things we do in our lives to escape. And what I mean by that is whether it's cleaning your house or going for a ride or going shopping or whatever it is that you start doing to escape from your tasks at hand. And for me, it was that I am constantly in motion. I'm moving, I'm going to this, checking this out, I'm checking that out. I'm like in motion. I'm in my car a lot. When I'm in the office, I'm zipping around to different places. There's like 3 or 4 spots that I go to. And so I'm like always moving. So come to the house and you can see behind me, my house is not very big. It's not tiny, but it's not it's not a big house. And so there's no place to go and hide, honestly. And with my husband home and with me and like the dogs and everything, it's been kind of for me like trying to sit in it. And there's some sayings that I hear over and over again. One is just sitting in it, right? So just sit in it and don't escape and don't try to find somewhere else to go. And don't try to check out. That's very hard for me. And then the second one is embrace the suck, which means while you're in it, like and when you know that it's going to be at least 5 days, that you say like, okay, so what can I do to make this count? Because it's so ironic. It's the beginning of the year. My word is unstoppable for the year. And the first thing that happens is I am stopped. So I started getting things organized, and I made a decision rather than wrapping up 2021. Like we had done a lot of prep work for that. Rather than going into the 2021 stuff, I said, all right, what do I need to do to launch 2022? And my daughter, who is also positive, who works with me at Agent Rising, she started auditing all of my website and all the things that need to be fixed in the class, and giving me all the like stuff that had fallen by the wayside. So that was like project number one, is getting the Agent Rising stuff squared away. And I could do that from home because that only really needs a computer. And basically, when I was in my gathering phase, I have my computer, my laptop, and I have a few tools, but as you can tell from the lighting, I don't actually have all my stuff here. But anyway, so I started saying I'm going to focus on that. There's also some proposals that are due for teaching/speaking engagements. So working on those tools as well, and preparing for when I can be with people again. So I have been working on that. As I said, I took I've been taking an online life coaching certification course, and not thinking that I want to do life coaching, but expanding the coaching resources that I have under Agent Rising. So those are kind of the three things that I have like focused on, as well as spending time in my house, right? Like, so I always am busy. I'm in the process of things, and I don't I don't follow through with the projects on the house. I neglect the house. And I decided that, spending some time picking up, taking care of things, and getting stuff to be squared away here. So again, I'm not always running, that might be something that would be helpful. Now, if you do not have, as I say, we're pretty isolated here. If you do not have people who can drop off items to you or resources on that, and you feel like you might have been exposed, you want to go and get yourself ready for 5 days of not going anywhere. And that means, again, I brought books, I brought my computer home, I brought tools to work with. Some of them, I don't have everything. And then the second part is food, right? So, the things that we've run out of have been like eggs and milk. It's so freaking cliche. It's not even funny. um, and a couple other little items. So just kind of making sure that you're ready to get through that. The first day that my husband was under isolation, I made a whole bunch of green drinks and red drinks, because one of my goals is to increase my energy level and endurance, right? So I have those, and those are prepped and whatnot. So I did some food prepping beforehand. All right, now psychologically, what I wanna say to you that I found was, knowing I had nowhere to escape and knowing I had nowhere to go was a really good time for me to look inward. And I speak a lot of what brings you energy and what takes energy away. I tried to be really mindful of those things that are taking my energy away, or the thought of them makes me like that inside, right? One thing I can tell you is, like, these past 5 days, I feel like there's been a lot of serotonin, a lot of oxytocin, because it's been very, cozy and nice. But there has not been a lot of dopamine, and there has not been a lot of cortisol. So my stress hormones, because I am at home, isolated, sleeping when I feel like sleeping, doing whatever I want. I've exercised every day. My two goals for the year is the mat every day and the bike every day. So I've had this opportunity to level off my hormones, and realizing that I didn't realize how much of a state of stress I live in. Again, goes back a lot to me saying running, move, don't catch me, don't get me, like that kind of thing, and always on the go, and having to just stay. And then realizing that, I can do this. Anyways, I've said about it a bunch of times because I didn't know what I was going to talk about today. I figured I would just open it up and kind of let you know how I was feeling. I'm going to summarize it with this. If this hasn't happened to you yet, this is a very contagious variant, and there's a chance it is. So start your prepping now. And also realize that it's a gift, right? In every obstacle, there's a gift. And there's always that silver lining. And for me, that silver lining has been emotionally and mentally getting myself ready for 2022, and where I want to stay and what I want to remove or minimize. And I talk about this a lot. I just have never had this 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 moment of not being able to escape. So, how about you? Have you had any experiences that you want to share with us? Is there something that you can bring back to our group to like weigh in on this? Because I don't want to say like, "Oh my God, it's been such a blessing," because this is an insidious germ, and I feel like it's so smarter than we are, and if we are not cautious, and if we're not paying attention, then we're not going to get it. And I'm hoping that you get it. I'm hoping I'm getting it, and I hope I remember. I hope I remember how I feel and the lessons of it, and that I don't start getting caught back in the traps, and that I remember how good it feels to not be in a complete state of stress all the time. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow, and thank you for bearing with me. I so appreciate you, and we will together rise. Oh, I'm looking now at what I had said in the banner, rise with time and money freedom. So that time piece I capitalized because I'm like, time. What happens when you have time? I did not know in my brain what it feels like to have time. And being home for 5 days plus gives you that idea about time. All right, my friends, have an amazing day. Trying to find my buttons here. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. See, I forgot how to do this.